Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to the Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. Today's episode will be quite special for me personally because Dirty Martini just turned 1 year old today. Not the day when you're hearing this, but the day I am recording this. The 10th of March, Monday, officially marks 1 year since I created this podcast, since I published the first episode. And my goal for today, by the way, I need to preface this by saying that I have a face mask on. And if I sound a little bit stiff in 20 minutes, that's because it's time for me to take it off. But like we all know that I cannot wrap everything up in 20 minutes. So that is why. But like my goal for today is, as you can probably imagine, to just reflect on that 1 year, what it has brought me, what it has taught me, and how I feel now, a year later, after taking the first step towards achieving my dreams or achieving a dream. So be prepared, be warned, and know that it is going to get sappy and emotional here, and quite a lot actually. I will try to bet my best to keep my composure, but I'm not making any promises. Like, I have been so overwhelmed today in the best possible way, just bursting with a palette of emotions, and it's still quite chaotic in my mind and my heart as well. But I will try my best to articulate it in a way which does my experience justice. Because there's a lot I want to share with you today, and I don't want to be vague, but also I can imagine that I will sound so general and vague. But if you know me at this point, and I feel like for a year we have gotten pretty close, you probably already know that sometimes I talk a lot and don't say much. I am recording this while I'm waiting for the cake I made to commemorate a milestone to cool down a little bit so that I can finally taste it. And I'm a little bit worried that it's going to taste like ass because this is my first time baking the cake layers myself. And I made the jam myself. So everything was DIY. And then, like, I just hope it turns out okay because with the oven I have, it's always a hit or miss. And more often than not, it's a miss because the top is always burnt and the bottom is always runny. The thing with the cake is, I was really trying to make it look like a martini glass. And let's just say that attempts were made. It has character, okay? It has character. Let's just put it like this. It may not look perfect or like good, but it has character, and I feel like it just perfectly embodies what the podcast is. It may not be perfect. There's a lot of room for improvement, but it's authentic, it's real, and it's me. And it's blue, of course, because hello. I mean, like, I wanted to make the glass itself gray, but I've been spending so much money. I am walking on the verge of bankruptcy after my bankruptcy, and I made a lighter blue and a darker blue, and the lighter blue is supposed to be gray. So for colorblind people, I think just perceive it as you perceive it. And anyway, so to pay homage to the way I used to record when I first started out, I am having floor time, just like I was the very first time I pressed record, because I used to think that it would give me the best audio quality, and I couldn't have been farther from the truth. Now, the thing is, nowadays when I record from my bed with my phone left on my bedside table, trying to like create some distance between my mouth and my phone, but like not too big of a distance so that it doesn't echo, because my room, as you can imagine, it's not studio quality audio, what is the thing, isolation, like it's not a good environment for recording sounds. And the thing is, I feel like this with the me sitting on my bed And like the audio is a little bit better than the first episode, like that is for sure. I mean, like the bar was in hell. Like it isn't the greatest, but it definitely is better. But what I wanted to say is, if sometimes you hear background noises like creaking and whatnot, usually it is just me adjusting myself in my bed. And my bed frame is super old, broken, and squeaky, and you cannot take a breath without making a symphony of creaking sounds. So if you hear any sounds in the background of my episodes and I don't specify that it is a goose from the lake outside, then it is my bed trying to make an appearance. Because as you can imagine, in the hour that it takes me to record, I get quite stiff and need to move around a bit, and I always try to shut up, adjust, and then start talking again so that I can edit it out, but it never seems to work. Guys, I am in the process of saving up money to buy a microphone, and that would eradicate any background noise, hopefully like this. And furthermore, it would mean that I don't have to record at 2 a.m. Because now I do record at 2 a.m. because I live in a very old house with paper thin walls and unnecessarily loud pipes. And my neighbors, like, I have complained about them before. So when I record, it's always 2 a.m. to make sure everyone but me in the house is asleep, and I get an hour of silence unless the geese are like going at it. So if I can have the opportunity to not have to bend over backwards to record, that would be amazing. Soon, guys, I promise I am almost there. Like, me saving up money and having a little bit of unexpected bills, so to call them, expenses, means that after I buy the microphone, I will have to eat rice for the next 7 weeks, but the audio will be better. So priorities. But maybe now is the time to say that I'm so extremely appreciative to all of you who listen, despite the audio quality lacking in many, many aspects. I know that with podcasting, this is one of, if not the main aspect. And the fact that you're willing to put up with this just to hear what I have to say, which is more often than not nonsense, trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed and I don't take it for granted. So give yourself a pat on the back, because if I did, it would make a sound that I would not be able to edit out, and I would have to personally apologize to all headphone users. But yes, 1 year of Dirty Martini. It is rather paradoxical, because honestly, this 1 year flew by so fast, yet it felt like it was an entire lifetime long. And this 1 year, I went through so many seasons of life. Like, I didn't know it's possible for so much change to happen, to things that already changed within such a short amount of time. And in many ways, I perceive my life as pre-Dirty Martini and post-Dirty Martini, but I also feel like Dirty Martini has always been a part of me, so it is weird. And like in this, chronologically speaking, post-Dirty Martini era, so many things happened already, like emotionally, physically, socially, mentally, spiritually. But at the same time, I felt like it was just a blip of a moment. It has been only a year, yet I feel like a completely different person, because in many ways I am. And in many ways I set on to the journey to myself when I created Dirty Martini. And this has been one of the most daunting, but at the same time most fulfilling and rewarding journeys of my life as of now. And the fact that I get to share it with you, the fact that you show interest in my journey and myself, my mind cannot comprehend this. Not many things stayed the same over this one past year, but I think that stayed constant is my mind being blown every time someone told me they listen or have listened to my podcast. It is just that our community here is rather small. I know every single person who listens personally, and I do this all by myself. I don't see any tangible results. Everything is purely emotional rather than physical. And this is why I sometimes forget that people can perceive me, because there's no actual result that I can hold in my hand. So, like, if it's just in my mind, I think that people cannot perceive it, and me. And I post these things on the internet, but then I forget that they're on the internet and everyone has access to them. And I just do it because I want to. And the fact that someone is interested, even to the slightest capacity, is just beyond any metaphor or adjective I can come up with to convey how special, yet weird, but still exciting and reassuring it feels. And I'm so extremely proud of this little community that we have here. And I'm thankful to every single one of you for choosing to listen. I am not the best when it comes to expressing gratitude, because I always feel like I'm not doing a good enough job in verbalizing and showcasing appreciation. So I just keep on repeating thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you over and over again, hoping that the person knows I am grateful. One of my friends today gifted me a bouquet of roses for their Martini's birthday, and I kept on saying thank you, thank you. Oh, by the way, did you know that this happened? Thank you. And thank you. So I am beyond grateful for this tiny little corner of the internet that is just ours, where we get to be ourselves, yap each other's ears off. I honestly sometimes am like, did I need to claim the word yap that hard? Because it is a little bit cringeworthy, but it's okay. It's part of the process. And so we get to connect here on a level I didn't know was possible. And I feel so connected to each and every one of you. And if Spotify would show me your names, even though, like, again, I'm pretty sure I know every single person who listens, because it doesn't show names because of privacy concerns, but I if it were up to me, I would show up at each of your doors with a bouquet of flowers, a thank you note, and so much love, but not in a creepy stalker way. Although the new season of You is dropping soon and I'm very excited. But I won't do it in a Joe from you type of way. More like a thank you for all the support. I am forever indebted to you type of way. So I am proud of us. I am thankful for you and for the fact that it was you who facilitated the existence of an us. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, thank you. And I don't know if I told you this yet, but thank you. So my friend tells me that when she listens to this episode, it feels like, not this episode, the episodes, it feels like we're on a FaceTime together and I'm just telling her about my week. And this makes me feel so good, because it means, at least to a certain extent, that I can be perceived as real. And feeling this mutual connections is all I could ask for. And the fact that it is perceivable on the other end of the line, so to speak, is extremely validating. And I would be lying to say that I don't need this validation to a certain extent, because of course, I've said this many, many times before, a lot of the things we do are for validation, be it self-validation, be it external validation. We just need our existence to be recognized. So, yeah. But not only am I proud of this safe space that Dirty Martini embodies for me, on a personal note, and I know that this may come off as quite arrogant, which I promise you it isn't my intent, but I am so extremely proud of myself, as cocky as this sounds, for having the bravery to create this space and to nourish it continuously. I am proud of myself for showing up weekly, even when I was busy, even when I was sick, even when I didn't want to talk to anyone. I am proud that I did it. I am proud of the discipline I am showcasing to myself and the satisfaction it brings me along the way. And this satisfaction is like a drug. It is addictive, and it's a high I keep chasing and I expect to keep on chasing. And it is so reassuring that I am on the right path, doing something right, doing something for me when I feel like this, and doing something that brings me genuine pleasure. I am proud of myself, not only for sticking to this for a year, considering that I started this not knowing if there would even be a second episode. I am also proud of myself for finding a passion, for finding something that brings me so much joy. Dirty Martini, and trust me, I know I am normally an abnormally delusional person, but I do also recognize that in the grand scheme of stuff, this is such a tiny podcast, not successful when it comes to charts, listen, followers, whatever. However, I still see this place as immense personal success. I don't let these statistics affect me. I don't keep them in mind when creating the next episode. I create whatever feels right, not whatever feels clickable. And I honestly notice that I don't care. I don't check my numbers. I don't check performance analytics because I'm here for a completely different reason. I am not here to be the biggest podcaster in the world, and having access to these insights but not caring about them further proves me right in my belief that I am in this for the right reasons and that I am doing something simply because I enjoy it and not because I'm looking to gain something from it. Dirty Martini gives me purpose. It gives me life. It gives me the outlet to express myself, my creativity, my growth, my chaos, my confusion, my soul, and my heart. And it is so nice that I can know that I have no ulterior motives. Because sometimes, influenced by this and that, I have questioned myself and my reasons. But when I get out of it and connect to me, the person who creates, the person who this place is created to cater to, I fully recognize why I'm here. I am here for myself. If anyone else joins, lovely. If not, you gotta make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Hello. So, this 1 year has been an extreme emotional roller coaster. And for the better, I would say. I mean, it wasn't all roses and rainbows and unicorns all the time. That is for sure. But I feel like when I draw the line, the return on investment is positive. So I want to share with you the two recurring themes which were in play over this 1 year of podcasting and what conclusions I drew from them. The creation of this podcast has taught me a lot in general. It has taught me in such a short amount of time so much about the establishment of a healthy connection to myself. I now see myself in such a different light because I have shown to myself how capable I am. Not just about sticking to stuff and being disciplined and determined and motivated, eager, curious, creative, hardworking, and devoted, but also because I am capable, period. And because I am doing all of this to please myself and nobody else, I have been learning a lot about my self-imposed expectations and how to navigate them, how to achieve them, and how to cope if I don't meet them. It has definitely been a wild ride of emotional growth in that aspect, at least. Dirty Martini has taught me on a very basic level, on a very practical level, about media production and marketing, which are two fields which I'm extremely interested about and would love to interested in. Propositions, guys. I over this one past year, I've been struggling so much with propositions, and in moments like these I'm like, I really hope my examiners who did my Cambridge assessment aren't listening, because they would revoke my certification in a single second. So, yeah, propositions I may be struggling with, but still I rise. That was so unnecessary and so not relevant, but hello. So yes, I have been learning about media production and marketing, and I'm very happy about it because those are two fields in which I would love to further develop. And Dirty Martini has also facilitated a lot of my self-esteem improvement, and most of all, it has been an outlet for emotional outbursts and their navigation, their rationalization, but also their feeling, because I tend to analyze and not feel my emotions. And I feel like this is inherent for an overthinker of a caliber like mine. And dedicating myself to tell my story in full transparency has forced me to feel my feelings, not just verbalize them, and to do so kind of in a timely manner and not postpone feelings and emotion, because I have a schedule. And at times, this has definitely bit me in the ass because it is a bit of an emotional self exploitation, but the more I gain experience, the better I learn to navigate this. So, Dirty Martini has no doubt been the catalyst in the establishment of a connection to myself that is so vital to my nowadays understanding of who I am in my life. Not just a mere someone who I have to put up with, but someone I enjoy being, even when things are going to shit. So, in general, over this 1 year, I learned a lot about podcasting, about myself, but also about life. And I want to now give you a proper presentation, so to say, of two life-changing lessons that I came to learn thanks to Dirty Martini so far. One is a bit more negative emotion centered, and the other one is more positive. Which one should I start with? Okay, not to be a downer, but I think I should start with the more negative one and then finish off on a nice positive note. And if you're the type of person who prefers to get good news first and then bad news, then I don't know, listen backwards. Although you know how when people listen to Ariana Grande's music in reverse, they think that she's like a satanic whatever. Guys, I'm on such an Ariana Grande kick recently. It is crazy how this woman is unable to produce bad music. She, to me, is the vocalist of our generation alongside other few artists. But I am so in awe of her. And it's just crazy to me. This angelic voice, I am so thankful she has, the platform she has, in the sense that I get to listen to her music, because her music, it's so touching and so beautiful. So shout out to Ariana Grande. Not that she needs my shout out, but still. So yes, let's start with the more negative one. So one of the more heartbreaking things I had to learn during this 1 year was the fact that not everyone whose support you expect, whose support you need and desire is going to support you. This is something I am honestly still struggling to cope with a lot, because I know how supportive of a friend I am. And you can tell me a lot of things about myself. You can call me names, but you cannot call me a bad friend. And this is something I pride myself in a lot. And I will not let anyone challenge this or doubt it, because I know what a friend I am. And I know I shouldn't do this because it isn't healthy, but I expect that if I provide support to my friends, they would return the favor. Of course, I want to say that if this podcast is not your thing, absolutely, you shouldn't listen. And I won't force you to, because it will make you grow resentful, which is the last thing I want. Like, if it's not your cup of tea, don't drink it. What I'm referring to is that calculated lack of support. And this thing, I will say, sounds so silly and so minuscule, and maybe it's even so immature of me to even give it the light of day. Is that the expression? Like, it's probably stupid that I'm devoting even energy to think about it and like talk about it. And like, yeah, it's little in the grand scheme of life, but I just think that it is such a telling aspect of a person. And if it's bothering me, no matter how minuscule, then it's worth talking about. Like, that is one thing I will always advocate for, because people a lot of times tend to undermine other people's worries and stresses and pains, because in their eyes they're minuscule and little and just livable through. Is that a word? I don't know. You know what I mean. But like, if something is occupying mental space in your life, it's worth talking about, no matter how silly, no matter how minuscule and how passing it is. If it is something that's bothering you, talk about it. Don't undermine it, don't underestimate it, and don't let others do it. If it bothers you, it matters. So I have had friends, well, friend would be a significant overstatement, because they're no longer in my life, not because of the podcast per se, but because of other stuff that I will not get into right now, maybe, although, like, I don't know. But I have had two very rather memorable instances of where for convenience, let's call them friends, do not interact with my content, but like, again, this calculated lack of support. And then one day they liked all my Dirty Martini posts and went, "You're welcome, there you go." And when I tell you the only thing I felt was rage, please believe me. I don't want to have to beg for your support, and I will not. I don't want you to feel like you must support me or that you're doing me a favor by giving my Instagram a stupid like. It is not changing the trajectory of this podcast existence, but it is rather repulsive in our relationship. Liking everything because I don't know why, and saying, "You're welcome, there you go." Hello? And I will never force anyone to listen. I will not hold it against anyone if they don't listen. But the way they approach the situation, I'm sorry, but I will judge. Because this is legit so immature. Because it's okay for me if you don't listen to the podcast. Like, you don't have to. I am not creating this podcast with the intention that it's going to be listened to by every single person in my life. I'm creating it for myself. If it is something you would like to listen to, you're more than welcome to. If it is not, don't. But don't act like, just don't do it with calculation and malintent. And the next extremely vivid example, which is rather more bigger scale. So this next example that I have to share with you right now, it is just mind-boggling to me. And it was the first one to happen that made me reflect on this whole thing and come to the conclusions I have come to. And by the way, when I'm sharing these stories, I am not trying to portray myself as a victim or them as a villain. I'm just sharing a story. And if my story paints them as a villain, then I don't think it's my problem. Also, if you think you will do me wrong and I will not shred you to pieces in one of my episodes, think again. So this second instance is rather shocking. Honest which I appreciate, but honesty in the so casually cruel in the name of being honest type of way. So I had a conversation with a friend at a time, and they're no longer a friend, not because they don't support the show, but because the relationship we had was extremely emotionally taxing, and they were continuously projecting their problems on me, trying to convince me that I think, act, and behave in the same way as them. They were going on for months trying to diagnose me with autism and ADHD, which fine, I've never been tested. I'm not saying that I am 100% not or autistic or that I don't have ADHD, but that is just not something you tell to people. So I naturally distance myself from them because, like, I want to go out for a drink. I don't want to go out and like be therapized. Because anytime I showed any type of emotion that wasn't hyper optimism, they told me I'm autistic. How deprived of social skills do you have to be to tell this to someone? First of all, you're making me close off and not show a single blip of realness because my realness will be judged. Second of all, why are you putting forth a narrative that centers around your ideation that means that humans can only be one way, aka happy, and any deviation and complexity beyond the binary you perceive, or like you need, what is the one for binary? No, that sounds like you're in, well, like one thing, like one-sidedness, like one, let's go, like whatever. So anything you perceive beyond those, beyond that realm that you have perceived, and you're trying to impose that like boundary and those borders of your mental, you know what, I'll be mean, so I'll just shut up. And like just implying that anything that is beyond what you perceive as quote unquote normal is connected definitely to a mental disorder or illness. And then finally, if I were autistic, which again, I've never been tested, that would be so extremely rude and offensive to say. I am so not pro cancel culture, but we should bring back cancel culture in real life, meaning that we should tell people to fuck off and just walk out. Walk out, walk off, walk out, walk out. Propositions. My biggest advice, scratch anything I have said in any episodes. My biggest advice is, if someone tells you, and this is how my relationship with this person started, if someone tells you, all my friends leave me, or I have no long-term friends, don't be like me. Think about what is it that brought them here? Why are they unable to sustain a friendship? And things happen, that's for sure. Like, you can move countries, people die, like, it's okay, things happen. But it is definitely an indication of who they could be. And I always give people the benefit of the doubt, and it always bites me in the ass. So if someone trauma dumps in the first 5 minutes of you meeting, tells you they feel so connected with you, am I describing myself? Because like I've been trauma dumping for the past year, and I just went on and on about how I feel to you. But like, it's different, guys. We've already known each other. Like, we've already known each other for 365 days because it's not a leap year. Like, if it was last year was a leap year. So, but like, I created Dirty Martini after the 29th of February. Basically, the first 5 minutes of you knowing that person, and they trauma dump, and they tell you they feel so connected to you, and tell you you are their best friend, and are mad at you for not perceiving them as your best friend because you are their soul friend. Don't run. Don't run. Don't run. Sprint. Sprint your ass out of there and save yourself so much emotional taxing. Not even a tax haven like Monaco would save you. But I didn't mention what that person said. I just went on a tangent, as per usual. So I think it's a pretty natural thing that, especially in the beginning when I created the show, I was so hyped. It was at the forefront of everything I did and any decision I made. And I was unbelievably excited and wanted to share my excitement with that person, because up until that point, they had always been like this emotionally in-depth, like emotional person, just like very beyond the small talk. And they were always saying that they're rooting for me and that they want to see me succeed. And then this happened. So I was talking to that person about a podcast and how I'm approaching the process, what I'm learning, and blah, 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 blah. To which they said, again, honest, cruel, but honest. They told me, and I quote, and I literally am quoting word for word because I wish I could forget those words, but they're so ingrained in my brain because I had never thought something like this could ever be verbalized or felt. So they said, I am not going to listen to your podcast. I am not going to support you because you working on your dreams just reminds me that I am not working on mine. Let that sink in. Take a minute, pause, think about what you just heard, and come back after. What if friend says this? That you working on your dreams just reminds them of how they're not working on theirs, and that is why they're not going to support you. Because that person also wanted to create a podcast, but they just didn't. And I really don't get it. Instead of taking advantage of the fact that I had already created mine and was willing to share everything with you and was gaining experience that, again, I could share with you, they decided to go the exact opposite direction. I felt so perplexed and legit hurt by this statement, because how does me working on my dreams affect you and yours? I have had people tell me I am motivated to do it because I tell myself, if you can do it, so can I. And I think that that's the better outcome. Like, I would never want my determination and hard work to be demoralizing and demotivating. I literally should have gone up and run out the door the second they told me this, because it is so telling of who they are as a person deep down inside. But I burnt my hand and I waited for my whole body to catch on fire to save myself. Again, guys, run, run, run. Marathon runners, Usain Bolt, come on, run. And sure, I appreciate the honesty, but you cannot tell me that this isn't heartbreaking. Heartbreaking because you want to share your dreams and experiences and excitement and joy with the people you love, but you cannot force them to be a part of the journey. And some friends will be part of the journey, others will leave. And I came to realize that strangers are a bigger supporter than friends like this I used to have. I have had strangers be more devoted to my projects than the people whose support and love I craved. And that is honestly such a weird and unexpected feeling. And what I came to realize is that people will support you and your dreams and support you in your ambitions until the moment you start acting on them. Because the moment you start acting on them, the moment you start working towards achieving them, you're growing. And if they're not growing as well, you become threatening. And I would never want my dreams to be anyone else's nightmare. And I don't know if this is rooted in jealousy, fear, ingenuity, or else, but it sucks. And it's so funny that that person who told me they aren't going to listen to my podcast because in a way it belittled them, they were the first one to congratulate me when Alex Cooper reposted my story, and then when I got 500 listens, or when Spotify Wrapped came out. And I just remember when I finally said, that's it, I am done with this person, was when they wrote me an Instagram novel of a message, and they went on and on about how they're not going to listen to my podcast. And I was like, what? This is coming so out of the blue. Ever since that encounter, I never said anything because I didn't want to bring it up, because I just didn't want to make them feel bad. But the fact that they felt like this is argument worthy, I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Like, I should have more self-respect. And the thing is, a lot of people, a lot of quote unquote friends will not see the value in your dreams, will not see the vision, will not support the process. And that sucks. That is painful. That is isolating. That is lonely. And that can make doubts creep up. Creep in, creep up. I'm not even going to mention, guys. You already know. But once another person, especially if it is like an established figure, does appreciate and see the value you have, the narrative changes. People will be scared and unwilling to support you until strangers start supporting you, until strangers start uplifting you, until they see that you didn't need their support for your success. You needed it as a person. You needed it as a friend because you needed a friend. You didn't need their likes. You didn't need their shares. And that is not the energy I want in my life. And I'm not going to beg anyone to be a part of my story. There's the door. Literally, there's the door. I'm totally okay with my content not being people's cup of tea. We can't all like the same thing. But it's all about the mentality. It's all about the approach. And if you see my success as your detriment, then I feel like our story comes to an end here. And I'm not going to beg anyone to support me. And I'm not going to beg anyone to share my success with me. I'm not going to beg anyone to be happy about me or be happy with me. And while I'm still struggling to cope with the fact that lack of support is prevalent, I am trying to focus on the support that I am receiving. And there are people who are going to doubt you. There are people who are going to judge you. There are people who are going to mock you. There are people who are going to fear you. There are people who are going to respect you. There are people who are going to admire you. And there are going to be people who are motivated by you. And there are going to be people who will see your success as their lack of such. Who are going to be demotivated by your motivation because it would keep on reminding them of their lack of determination and inability to act on dreams, but just sit and wait around for them to happen. And the thing is, there's space for everyone here. I don't see why me occupying my space should eat at your space. It doesn't, and I don't want it to. And it genuinely doesn't sound like a me problem if you perceive it like this. And I refuse to dim my light, to be in the shadows and stop myself from growing because my growth might be uncomfortable for someone else and doesn't accommodate their structure. I am done. So there are people who are going to love you and there are people who are going to hate you. And this I realized extremely fast, and with the minuscule growth I have had online. The idea is not to put any of those on a pedestal. Not the good, not the bad. The idea is just to keep on going. And this relates to the second major lesson, major laser, I came to learn. And that is that you don't need to be good at something to start doing it. You just need to start. I remember that before I started this podcast, I kept on telling people, oh, I'm going to create a podcast. I am going to create a podcast. And I was talking about this for all over like half a year to a year before I actually created Dirty Martini. And I remember I recorded a few podcasts, some in Bulgarian, some in English, and I posted them on a private YouTube channel, and I only sent them to a selected few friends so that they could watch them if they wanted to. And I really just wanted to create, but I didn't do it. But I was telling everyone that I am going to do it. And I was all talk, no action. And then I remember coming across something online on social media that said, saying that you're going to do the thing is not doing the thing. The only thing that's doing the thing is doing the thing. And something in me shifted that day. And I realized that just because I imagine myself having a podcast, just because I am telling everyone I will have a podcast, doesn't mean I have a podcast. My perspective shifted from within. I realized that I can talk about creating a podcast all I want, and I can talk about wanting to achieve my dreams all I want, all day, every day. But if I never work on them, if I never act on them, if I never do, then they're just going to be simple words that are not backed up by any actions. And one of the biggest motivators in my life is fear of wasted potential and opportunities. I am just extremely scared of what ifs. And I remember that day I sat with myself and realized that this fear is stronger and more defining than social anxiety and fear of failure I had experienced when creating. I did not want to look back on my life and regret not creating a podcast when this is what my heart was telling me I should do. I came to the conclusion that I would rather regret creating it, I would rather regret exposing my life, I would rather regret it affecting my future career than living with the regret of what if I had done it, how things have played out. And the only thing I somewhat regret, although I don't like living with regret, so I'm trying to eradicate it as a regret, is not starting Dirty Martini earlier. But this is how things were supposed to be. I guess I was supposed to create it last year when I don't know if I was ready necessarily. I just felt like I just reached at that time the peak moment of me needing such an outlet. So instead of beating myself up for not creating it earlier, I can pat myself on the back for creating it, period. And I remember when I was recording the first few episodes, I didn't have any structure. I didn't have any plan. I didn't know what topics to talk about. I didn't know how to edit my audio. I didn't know anything. I was thrown deep into the ocean without knowing how to swim. And today, I listened to the first episode, which I hadn't listened to since I first published it because I don't listen to my episodes. Once I record them, edit them, and publish them, they're no longer mine. They're everyone's. So I listened to it, and it's so bad, but funny and silly, but in a way in which is just close to my heart. Because I was listening to it, and I was like, the audio quality is terrible. Like, your speech is so incoherent, you don't know what's going on, and you're very visibly and sensibly scared and worried. And that is okay. And I'm very proud of you for doing it despite all of those things, or maybe doing it because of those things. But I was listening to it, and you can hear me breathe, and you can hear me swallowing. You can hear me taking pauses because I was so anxious after every single sentence I spoke. The pace is completely off. The rhythm is non-existent. But that is okay, because everybody starts somewhere. And I just want this to be a reminder to you that you don't need to be great at stuff to do them. You don't need to excel at things for you to start doing them. You don't need to be a professional to enjoy something. And I can see my improvement over this 1 year. Quality-wise, the audio is still very much terrible because I'm still recording from my phone. And again, microphone coming in soon. But also, I am much more confident now. I don't have to get drunk to press record because the first few episodes, this is exactly what I did. I would get like at least tipsy and I would keep on drinking throughout the episode because I was such a victim of stage fright, even though I was by myself in my room. And I'm still in the very same place in which I recorded the first episodes. Every single episode I've recorded in my room, so the environment didn't change. I did. I became more confident. I became more knowledgeable about the podcasting world and the podcasting process. With every single mistake I made, I became more and more motivated and determined to improve. I did not see my podcasting failures and marketing lacks as a reason to stop. I saw them as fuel to keep on going. I used to record and re-record episodes until I thought they were perfect. If I stuttered, I would beat myself up. If I messed up a proposition, I would go back and re-record. And now I just let it be. I leave the mistakes in because it humanizes me. I am not a machine. I'm just a person trying to do person things. So don't wait to be great to start, because you need to start to be great. It's that simple. And we tend to overcomplicate it so much. Just start, create. And this reminds me of what my literature teacher in middle school used to tell me when I wanted to write a book. She told me, just write. You can always edit. And you definitely learn more from failure and mishaps than you do from successes. So don't be scared to try. Perfection does not exist. Authenticity does. Don't be scared to fail. Be scared of letting yourself down by not even giving yourself a chance. And if you're wondering whether you should create a podcast or a YouTube channel or a blog or an Instagram account or whatever it is that you do that is not even social media related, consider this your sign. I am an Adidas girly, but in a very nice spirit. Just do it. Do it even if nobody listens, even if nobody watches, even if nobody tunes in, even if nobody cares. Just do it. You should do it not for other people. You should do it for yourself, to satiate your own creative, exploratory hunger. Do it because it's something that brings you joy. And here's a pro tip. If you have an ulterior motive, that ulterior motive is going to take away part of the enjoyment, if not all of the enjoyment of the process. And chances of failure are greater, because I did not create my podcast to become an influencer and grow and be top 10 podcasters in the world. No, I created because I was genuinely interested in media creation, and podcasting was something that had caught my attention, and I have always loved storytelling, and I've always loved capturing my life in any way possible so that I can look back onto it one day and just remember. And for me, podcasting really spoke to me. And I hope I always and forever find joy in podcasting. I hope I'm always and forever motivated and determined to achieve it and do it. And if I'm not, I want to be able to walk away with dignity before I grow resentful. I feel like this mentality regarding the possibility of one day not doing Dirty Martini is the thing that helped me establish a healthy relationship with this space. Because I don't feel like I have to be here. I don't feel like I should be here. I feel like I get to be here. And I feel like these are my terms. I have myself to answer to. And there are a lot of expectations. A lot of expectations I have created for myself. And a lot of the things I want to achieve. And those can be motivating. And they are motivating. But they can also, and they are daunting. But I won't be stopping anytime soon. We're just getting started. I am just getting started. I am so extremely grateful for every single one of you who tune in to listen. Nothing warms my heart like when someone listens to an episode and after that they text me to tell me what their experience was like. And also, guys, I'm so extremely welcoming to feedback. If there's something you think I can work on to improve and be better and create this space in a more good and a better way, please share it with me. I'm not coming in here like saying all those positive things, thinking that this space is perfect, thinking that the way I create is perfect. It most definitely is not. So if there's any way you think I can improve, absolutely feel free to tell me. It is not daunting to tell me, hey, I don't like this. I will not be mad. And the mere fact that there are people in this world who care about what I have to say and tune in to listen to me talking about the weather, about social media, about my emotions, experiences, and feelings. That is so full circle moment to the beginning, validating, and so extremely heartwarming. And I feel like I'm so terrible again at expressing gratitude, but I just want you to know that my heart is so full of love because of you. You bring me purpose. I am always and forever indebted to you, and I promise to try my best to do your right, to not disappoint you, to make you feel seen, to make you feel appreciated, and I am not taking you for granted. With that being said, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you so much for this amazing year that we have had. I am so excited for many more to come. But until then, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye.